All right. All right, good evening, everyone. Today's date is July 6th. Time is approximately 6 p.m. And I'm going to call this Planning and Zoning Board together, or to order. The first thing I would like to welcome the new board members. Yay! You don't have any idea what you're getting into. um, so just by way of introduction, if we could just start here with Daniel and work your way down. I'd love you to just do a quick introduction so the staff knows who you are, if they didn't get a chance to look at your application, and also for the benefit of the public.
Sure. I'm Daniel Thomas. I've been in Newberry about 4 years, transplant from Ocala, but I've been involved in the community for the last two, co-chair of Newberry Historical Association. So yeah, looking to get involved and help out.
Okay. Next.
Jason McGehee, been here all 50 years of my life. I was a commissioner from 2013 to 2017. Kind of doing a full circle moment. So never thought I'd be sitting behind the dais again, but
We have a way of reeling you back in.
yeah.
Right. Bonnie?
Bonnie Hauser, similar to Jason. I've lived here almost 50 years now. I had about a 10-year stint. I lived in Gainesville while I was going to school and have lived back out here since 2004. And I was on the Charter Review Board and took a little break for a while from really being involved. So thank y'all for trusting me to do something good, I guess.
Sure. Mr. Walker?
I'm Sean Walker. I've been here for about 6 years. I'm a transplant from Lake City, Florida. And I'm just excited to be a part of something different and be part of the community.
Fantastic. Why don't the staff, we can go around the staff real quick, too.
You want to go first?
Just keep on going. Jordan Marlowe, city manager. I've been here about 50 years, graduated with a couple of these guys from high school. Excited to have y'all up here on the dais.
Yes, I wanted to welcome you. My name is Stacy. I'm the Community Development Director. You've been meeting with myself and Nicole over the last few weeks, and we're super excited to have you on. While we're here, I'd like to introduce you to some of my staff so that you're familiar with who they are. I know many of you have already been communicating with Bailey over here. She's the one that keeps our minutes. Greta's my code enforcement officer. We've got Sarah, who is our community planner, and Lauren, the assistant director, who will be doing the majority of the presentations this evening.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. I appreciate it. And just for another edification point for the public, the Planning and Zoning Board is a board. It's just an advisory to the commission. It's more or less kind of like a vetting opportunity. So the commission sets a plan and sets a course for the city, and it's up to Manager Marlowe to execute on that vision. The planning board is in place to help facilitate the vision that the commission has. So they look at some of this stuff. They're the kind of the first step to make sure that the staff has checked all the boxes for them. So as a board, we're not here to beat up the staff. We're not here to beat up the commission. We're not commissioners here on this board. We're just advisory. So it's really a look over everything, kind of the 100,000-foot level, make sure a lot of the boxes are checked, make sure it sort of speaks to the vision of what the commission has set forth, and just kind of moving things forward. If they have done their job and the board's done their job, they should all get a yes at the commission level, theoretically, because again, you're sort of setting things up to get the yes. It's a waste of everybody's time if we move things forward that the commission is just going to shoot down, right? So that's kind of a no-go. So while you will get a lot of posts and a lot of comments from the public about, oh, it's always unanimous, the commission always, just passes everything. Well, if we've done our jobs, that's what happens. That's really kind of the goal. So it's an adjective of a good working process, not a bad one. So with that, so with a couple of housekeeping things out of order or out of the way. The microphones can be turned on from back there, but more importantly, if you just turn it on, it also cues the cameras that you're speaking. So the cameras will automatically go to you when the microphone is on. So it's as much for sound as it is for video from that standpoint. Okay? So we'll begin. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Daniel, you want to lead us on that? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and I've tried to kill as much time also for Ms. Parker to get here, but she had a couple of work deadlines that she is working through, so she'll be here in a little bit. The first item is the election of the Planning and Zoning and the HARB Vice Chair. So I am the chair theoretically of the board. So the chair is the person who will preside over the meetings in my absence. And at this time, I will entertain a motion from the board. So again, if you want to do a motion, you just say, I make a motion X, Y, Z. Somebody else has to second it. Then we put it on the floor for debate from the dais. Public will also have an opportunity as well through that process to speak to whatever motion is on the floor at that time as well. So I'll entertain a motion for the nomination of a vice chair from anybody that wants to do that. Guys are all brand new, so somebody's got to be first.
I make a motion to nominate Jason McGeehee as the vice chair.
Okay. Is there any other nominations? Okay.
I second that.
All right. Sean's going to third it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second for Jason McGeehee. Any discussion? Do you want to defend yourself, Jason? No? Okay. Any other comments from the dais? Any from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. All those in favor passes. Unanimous, 4-0. Okay, approval of the agenda as published. There's only a few items on here tonight, pretty light load, but I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So previously, Bailey, it was Ms. Bonnie on the motion and Daniel on the second. Okay. And we have Jason on the motion here, and who was on the second? That was also Daniel. Okay? Yes. Okay, you're welcome. We won't have to always do that once we learn everybody's name, but fair enough. Any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda as published from the dais? Any from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous on that as well, 4-0. Okay, consent agenda is not debatable other than just to not pass it. If we don't pass it, we can break out parts of it to hear independently, but it was primarily the approval of the minutes from the the April 21st and the May 4th meeting as published. So I'll entertain a motion at this time to approve the minutes from those meetings.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Board Member McGeehee. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, and a motion from Board Member Walker. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimous. In the future, if there's something from the consent agenda that you want pulled, just let me know ahead of time. We can deal with that ahead of time also, whether it's when you get the packet the week in advance or the night of the meeting. It doesn't matter. It's pretty painless to just remove it. So, okay, first item in petitions number 3, CPA 2613, the small-scale future land use amendment for the city-owned properties. And Madam Attorney, you want to read into the record the petition?
Since this isn't a resolution or an ordinance, we don't need to read the title. Staff will give an intro.
Okay. All right, Lauren, you're going through these? All right, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, I don't have a, don't have a clicker.
A clicker?
Is it inside? Okay.
Well, don't take the thing apart.
I know. How do you
What do you-
open this? Okay. Here it is, I got it. Thank you.
Bring that mic down, Lauren.
Let's see. Yes. Success. All right. Hi, Lauren Yetter. I'm Community Development staff. So the first item is this small-scale future land use amendment. The application or petition number is CPA 2613. It's a change from mixed use, agriculture, and residential low density to public facilities and land on city-owned properties. And I'll go through those properties. This is actually, it's the third round of amendments to public facilities and land on the future land use side. On the zoning side, the companion zoning will be public facilities. Several years ago, public facilities was created as a new zoning district and a new, I think, land use classification also. And basically the use is city-owned properties, publicly owned properties for use of government buildings and other public uses. And so this is the third round. I think first staff came to City Commission and P&Z for small parks. And then we came with Easton and Champions, which are large scale, they're large parks. And then now it's all the other city-owned properties that aren't parks. So the question under consideration is, should the Planning and Zoning Board approve petition number CPA 26-13, proposing an amendment to the future land use map on city-owned properties? And again, it's from agriculture, mixed use, and single-family residential, all to public facilities and land classification. And so our recommendation is to approve the petition CPA 2613. Staff finds that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development regulations. So here's a overall map. The properties are outlined in a darker outline, but I'll zoom into each one of the properties. And actually, I think all of these properties are stormwater facilities. So, and the parcel numbers, let's see, I have it in the, actually it's the next couple slides and it's in the staff report too. All of these outlined properties, and you can see that they're currently single-family residential or RSF1 on the zoning side, mixed use and agriculture, but the appropriate land use would be public facilities. So here's the parcel numbers outlined or listed, and then as you can see, there's Avalon Woods lift stations, or 2 of those, other stormwater facilities, a DOT stormwater extension, and then some stormwater facilities within Countryway as well. Oh, that's the last one. And so again, the question is, should the Planning and Zoning Board approve petition CPA 2613 for an amendment to the future land use map from mixed use, agriculture, and residential single family, all to public facilities and land classification on these city-owned properties? And our recommended motion is to approve the petition. And I'm happy to answer any questions as best I can.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate it. I know we have a couple of people in the audience specifically about the Avalon Woods. Can you just speak specifically to that one and what we're actually kind of legally and kind of functionally starting tonight? Nothing legally happens here. It gets recommended to do something legally in front of the commission. But can you just speak to those 2 particular things for the benefit of a couple of people in the
Countryway?
audience?
Sure.
No, for Avalon.
Oh, for Avalon, okay. Well,
You can go back to the slide that shows
yes.
it. There.
Is this one helpful?
Yep.
Okay. Well, they are, I'm sorry, I think I misspoke. So Avalon Woods are the lift stations, and then all others were stormwater facilities. And so, I don't have it, so a lot of these are, 0.04 acres, 0.1 acres. They're very small parcels. They are separate parcels. Rezoning them to public facilities and changing the land use to public facilities and land is appropriate. They are city-owned properties. There are no plans to build or develop anything on these parcels. I know that might have been a concern, but this assures the city access to these facilities. Especially there are different utilities, utilities that might be in and through these different parcels that are publicly owned.
Okay, fantastic. And the public will you'll all have a chance to ask questions too here in just a second too when we get a motion on the floor.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to follow up on that because this project was started about 5 or 6 years ago by the commission, but really started in earnest under Stacy in the last year or so. But it has, anytime the zoning changes around you, it has questions that go along with it. What's the change? There is no change, right? The only change is an administrative change on our side that allows anything that's owned by the city is under the same zoning package. It's about consistency and ease of administrative function. As Lauren said, most of these are very, very small parcels, but even on the parks, we're not changing the parks. We had parks that were zoned residential because they were created 50 years ago, right? So the PF zoning allows everything that's owned by the city to be zoned in the same way. It also allows for ease of administration because often the city is acting as the referee between a resident and a contractor, right? So you need a third-party objective to come in and say, yes, that electrical work that you paid this contractor to do in your house is up to code and your house will not burn down, right? And you can trust the government permitter because we have no skin in the game other than making sure that that is up to code. If the city is the one that's doing it, well, we are the entity that does those inspections. So it allows us to cut some red tape out of the process because we're the ones that are performing the work and doing those kinds of things. But long answer to the question, there is no change of use on anything that we're doing. The only thing the commission has talked about when we're changing the zoning on parks to PF is it actually enhancing and expanding the recreational parks. We're just trying to get consistency, and obviously a stormwater basin should not be zoned for single-family residential because it's a stormwater basin. So just wanted to say that to hopefully alleviate some of your concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. So we have gotten a presentation from staff. Would somebody like to make a motion at this time?
Motion with staff recommendations.
Okay. We have a motion by Board Member Beebe, or Thomas, excuse me, and a second by Ms. Parker. Is there any discussion or questions that you have of staff from the board? Okay, let's go to the public. Lauren, maybe you need to step away. Y'all, maybe your questions were answered already, but no questions or dumb questions. Come on up to the podium. Just state your name for the record, and we'll try to get you taken care of, whatever your question might be.
My name is DeShazer Wilkinson. I'm an implant, about 17 years here in Newberry. I'm with my lovely wife, Terry.
Yes.
We were home one day and we noticed the guys doing surveys.
Yep.
So we looked at the little survey and we said, okay, so they came a little closer to our home. What does this mean? And we're right next to a retention pond.
Yep.
And we were just trying to find out, what does that mean? Do they just buy our piece of property, or what? Did we lose the money off of it? Can I pull up the stakes?
No.
Good question. Good question.
If you're next to the stormwater pond, that's the piece that the change is happening on. It has nothing to do with your property. But you probably saw a sign up there. You got a letter, clearly, letting you know that was the change that was coming. It has nothing to do, we didn't do anything to your property. It was already existing. That's what I wanted to let folks know here. Most of these that you're seeing are already there. There's already a pond. There's already a lift station. It's nothing new. It's just we're changing what was ours to be ours appropriately in the land use and the zoning, the cities.
So it is really just kind of that administrative / housekeeping part from an internal standpoint. But we publicly do this process so people like you can find out what's going on and you can
I was
ask
just
questions.
wondering, because
Yes, sir.
over in Lake City, my
Yep.
aunt had some property
Okay.
by a park.
Right.
And she had been paying taxes on it because she thought that that was the city property. But they've been charging her taxes on that land throughout that period of time. I was wondering, that with the stakes coming up, does that decrease our taxes and they throw some money in our...
Nope. It doesn't change any. It doesn't change any of that. No, your property lines or whatever does not change either.
All right,
No,
well, I'm good to go then.
no. Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Any other public comment or questions?
So I can pull the stakes up then?
Don't do
No.
that. Yes, sir. Come on down. Just state your name and your comment or question.
Yeah, I'm Gregory Rome. I'm a resident here as well. We live right next to a storm drain.
Yep.
Or a storm area,
Yep.
collection area, and we notice the signs, obviously. We just want to know, is there any plans? I know you kind of answered it, but in the future, could this make it more likely for something else to be built there? Or is it always going to remain a storm drain? Is this?
Yeah, no,
We just
good.
want to know, like,
Good question.
how's it
Yeah,
changing?
anytime you see change, you're like,
Yeah.
what are we talking
Yeah.
about?
So-
No, there's no intent on doing any of that stuff. In fact, if it does, there'll be a whole nother set of signs there that say, we're gonna change it to XYZ. So that's part of the public process to make people aware, so I'm glad you're paying attention. And what was your last name?
Rome.
Rome?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
And so what you're saying is, just to clarify, there will be another process if they decide to make it into a park or something like that.
Yes.
There would be another meeting and,
Yeah, there'd be a whole nother,
Okay.
one of these kind of changes
okay,
done.
okay.
And did you have a question also? You? No? Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
No, this lady here. Okay. Yes, sir.
Just to add on, Avalon Woods owns the retention basins. You pay HOA, and the HOA is responsible for maintaining. The city is not responsible for maintaining those stormwater basins. Those stormwater basins are by a DEP permit, Department of Environmental Protection permit. They're engineered for a very precise size, depth. Nothing can change that without shifting the capacity for the stormwater somewhere else, right? So you can't just come in and fill in the stormwater basins and get you in all kind of trouble with the state. So if anything were to happen there, we'd have to find another place for the stormwater to go. That's a very big process. That's not even a this board process. That's a statewide process that would involve lots of different board meetings, lots of different things. Nobody wants to go do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to confuse the stormwater that we're changing in some of the, because over in Avalon Woods, it's specifically for the lift stations. Do you know what a lift station is? Okay. It's to get from what you push down the toilet over to the water treatment facility. It's like a pump. It just keeps it moving through the pipes to get it from A to B, more than anything. Super. Okay. Good. Nice. Come on now. Sure. Just state your name first for the record.
Terry Wilkinson,
Okay.
and we live in Countryway, so
Okay.
we're right beside the retention pond. And I guess that it's a little strip that's there,
Yep.
that's been there since we moved there, that's what you're saying, that is city.
Right.
Well, we already knew that was city property
Yep.
right there.
Yep.
And then there's a fence that goes around the retention pond, but should that fence have been brought out further? Or just where it is, and then that little strip of land that's right beside it that
You're
belongs
reaching
to
for the
the
mic there to answer that one?
retention pond?
I would have to go back and research the answer to that. Country Way is different than Avalon Woods. I don't think y'all have a HOA, so y'all are in a
No,
different.
we
It
don't.
was an older neighborhood before we made every neighborhood, every developer start a HOA. So I'm not. I'd have to go back and do a little research about who put the fence up, because for a little while the developer was taking care of it. Because a lot of these developments that are that age, the developer was responsible for doing X, Y, and Z until the last parcel was sold, and then it kind of went into a nebulous zone. I'd have to research to find out the answer to that specific question.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other further question, comment from the public? All right, I'll bring it back to the dais. If there's no further discussion, do we have a motion? Yes, okay. If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Okay. And now we're going to do something that sounds almost exactly the same, but it's just another different little version of administrative stuff. So, Ms. Yetter, you coming back up for this one? All right. I need to read through all the judicial stuff, quasi-judicial stuff.
This is a quasi-judicial hearing.
Okay, all right, so we are entering the quasi-judicial procedure. This means that the board will stop being a legislative recommendation board and a quasi-judicial recommendation board. So we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule we must follow concerns testimony. and the substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the Judicial Advisory Board makes a decision. This standard states the following, quote, "All public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record." So I'm going to ask the attorney to read into the record the item and subsequently swear anybody in from the applicant, staff, or participants.
This is petition LDR 26-18, and staff will give an introduction that will give all of the information. But if there is anyone here besides city staff who intends to be a party, I'll need to swear you in. So if you would stand up and raise your right hand. And you all probably are not parties. You just intend to give comment as citizens. So if you'll raise your right hand and I'll read a statement. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Very good.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. And before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications and disclose whether any member physically inspected the property. Ex parte communications are any conversations or transmissions of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. So what you're disclosing is anything material to the property that may affect your actual vote. You can go buy a property, you can have seen a property, you could have talked with the property owner before, but what we need to put on the record is anything that's potentially going to affect your vote one way or the other. So we'll start at the far end with Board Member Walker. No? Okay. Ms. Hauser? Mr. McGee?
None.
Mr. Thomas?
None.
Ms. Parker?
No.
Okay. And I don't either, although I'm not a voting member. Just full disclosure on that. So we'll begin with the presentations, and Ms. Yetter, I will give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the companion petition. It's the rezoning. We just earlier talked about the future land use and the amendment to the future land use map. And this is the companion petition. So this is the rezoning. The petition number is LDR 2618, and the changes are from mixed use, residential single family RSF2, RSF MH2, all to PF or public facilities on city properties, about 17 acres. So the question to the board is, should the Planning and Zoning Board approve petition LDR 2618, proposing an amendment to the zoning map on these city-owned properties from agricultural, mixed-use, residential single-family RSF2, residential single-family mobile home RSF MH2, all to public facilities. And the recommendation is to approve petition LDR 2618. Staff finds that the amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. And again, here are the parcels that are proposed for a zoning, rezoning. And as you can see, they range from mixed use, RSF, agriculture, RSF2, more agriculture, and then all to proposed public facilities. And those are the parcel numbers. And again, these are lift stations that are in Avalon Woods. And the rest are stormwater facilities throughout the city. And so again, the question to consider is, should the Planning and Zoning Board approve petition LDR 2618? And the recommendation from staff is to approve the petition.
Thank you. In this case, we are the applicant and the staff, so we'll dispose of an additional presentation of the same thing, but we do take public comment also on this item, which feels a lot like the exact same thing as the last, but there is a little legalistic sort of change. But any other questions about any of this stuff that y'all still have? Okay. All right. And I will bring it back to the board. Do you have any questions for staff?
I don't know if I read it wrong, but it looked like the last one we did, it was 15 acres, and this one's showing 17.
you're right, good catch. Two of the parcels were already, they already had the future land use classification of public facilities. So those didn't have to be amended. They're already public facilities, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody on the board? Okay. Obviously not going to be making any sort of final argument or anything like that. But Madam Attorney, could you just remind the decision-making body of the applicable law and factual findings?
Yes, board members, when it's quasi-judicial, you're to make your decision based on what's presented to you here at the hearing and base your decision on the competent substantial evidence that's provided to you either in your backup materials or that was presented at the hearing.
Very good. Is anybody on the board prepared to make a motion at this time, or is there anything else to discuss?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, Commissioner or Board Member McGehee
I second it.
on the motion and Board Member Walker on the second. You got that, Bailey? Yes. Okay. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimous, 5-0. Okay. All right, moving on to item number 5 is SDP 2605. And Madam Attorney, this is actually quasi-judicial as well. So before we begin, let me remind the members to disclose any of the ex parte communications. So for this item, we'll begin down here on this end. Ms. Parker, do you have anything to disclose?
No.
Mr. Thomas?
No.
Mr. McGee?
No.
Ms. Hauser?
No.
Mr. Walker? None. Okay. All right, and Ms. Yetter, you have this one also?
And we'll need to do the swearing in for any parties who want to present, whether it's the city or the applicant.
Okay.
So stand, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you will provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, fantastic. So, Ms. Yetter, we'll do the staff overview and then the applicant after that.
Thank you. So this is site and development plan. The application or petition number is SDP 2605. This is for McDonald's at Highland Park. So the question under consideration is, should the Planning and Zoning Board approve the petition, SDP 2605, which proposes about 3,859 square feet of a fast food restaurant and related site improvements on a site consisting of about 1.26 acres. So the recommended motion from staff is to approve the petition. Staff finds that this petition is consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. And also, here's just a little timeline of prior Planning and Zoning Board and City Commission approvals. In 2023, there was a CPA 2307 that was a future land use change to PD, or planned development. And this is for all of Highland Park, or the not just the McDonald's site, of course. The companion to that was LDR 2307 that changed the zoning to PD, also in 2023. And then there was also a SD 2401 that was a site development or subdivision that came before the board, and that was in May 28th of 2024. And then finally, a land development regulation change or an amendment. That ordinance was 2025-01, adopted in February of 2025. So there have been a lot of approvals along the way for this area of Highland, for all of Highland Park. So here's the general site information. You can see the parcel number. The owner is WMG Acquisitions. Again, the future land use and the zoning are both planned development, or PD. It's about 1.26 acres. Existing use is vacant commercial. And it is, yes, it is that rectangular area highlighted or outlined in blue.
Here's the main road.
Yeah.
Where Wawa is going. That was the next property.
Yeah, that's the site. Right. And so in the staff report, there's also the proposed site and development plan. This gives a lot of information about signage, about ingress and egress, and buffers that are required, like landscaping buffers. And the applicant is actually here to present. But staff's recommendation is to approve the petition because the petition is consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations.
All right, thank you. Ingress and egress is how we get in and out, in and out. So like driveways, connective stuff.
Good evening. Kim Binkley Sire with the Sire Group representing McDonald's tonight. And I have to tell you, you're going to be hungry when you leave. It just happens. So this is this development is already very well planned out. This is what the McDonald's would look like, but the ingress to the property has been designated for a multitude of users. So there are designated entry points. The properties have cross access, and there will be a rear drive behind the properties on how you'll move from property to property. So if you're in the front of Wawa and you want to go to McDonald's, you could do it in the front or you could do it in the back. So it actually has been very well planned out for just circulation for accessing the different users as they go along. So this one has actually been laid out very well. So we don't have our own direct connect to the roadway, but we would connect our property frontage to the sidewalk. So we would have a sidewalk connection to the sidewalk that will be in front as every other user would. So want to make it pedestrian friendly, good access and what have you. So this one has really been laid out very well. This is our landscape plan. We will be using the typical dual drive-through lanes. McDonald's has found that that is a very effective means and gives them great stacking and what have you to prevent any problem in backing up into any driveway or what have you. So we've submitted the traffic studies to prove that in the stacking studies as well. So this is the landscape plan with the buffers. So it really is it's a nice project. We're very excited about it because I think you've got a lot of good users coming there. I think that they will feed off of each other, and you would have some nice users that are convenient. So I'm happy to answer any questions. We were worried that if anybody would like a paper copy of what the architectural is going to look at, I've brought some extra. We weren't sure if that was going to come across very clear or not. So I do have that if someone would like a paper version of it. So we're excited. Our plan for a time frame is, should we be successful in this zoning and with the city council, is basically as soon as we have all of our permits and what have you, we're ready to go. Our water management permits we've already secured. DOT is already in process. So we would anticipate moving very quickly. It takes about 100 days to build a McDonald's from beginning to end. We're hoping this one might make the 85-day and be the fastest one in the state. So they're fast, but happy to take any questions that you might have.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for the presentation. Just as far as our procedure, let me have you step aside 1 second in the event that we have some public comment on this. Any of you want to question or comment about what we're doing here? So this is all that property across from Publix. And one of those parcels will be the proposed McDonald's is what we're entertaining right now and vetting for, again, the commission itself. So do you have anything to cross-examine staff about or vice versa for either of you? Closing argument or anything like that? You feel it's warranted? No? Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, we'll bring it to the board. Does any member of the board have any questions for the applicant or staff at this point about what was presented? Don't everybody jump at once. All right. Seeing none, and again, nothing additional? Okay. All right. Well, at this time, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion. Is anybody on the board ready to do that?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Board Member Walker on the motion, and Commissioner or Board Member McGee. Second on that. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimous. So the inside joke is Jason and I were commissioners together for a very, very long time, so it just comes out that I address him as Commissioner McGee, but anywho.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam, for the McDonald's. And by 85 days, we're used to setting the pace on a lot of things, so if you get the 85 done, we'll be happy to take it. Do we know when
Mr.
it'll
Mayor, that's
qualify?
what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Now that it's approved, we're out of quasi. I have a hammer, so whatever we need to do to make that 85 days, because, I know we're gonna get a frosty machine or a milkshake machine in there, I'm ready.
I saw it on the floor plan.
I would like to request that the McFlurry machine always works. That's it.
Any other McDonald's jokes? No, nobody? Okay. Do we know when this will potentially be in front of the commission? At the next meeting? Is it going to make the next meeting? Or a second meeting in July or?
No, it will go on my task list to be prepared, and then it needs to be advertised. So planning staff, the applicant can follow up with planning staff.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, fantastic. Does that take us through everything except for member discussions? I'm not missing anything, right? Okay, well, here we are. Member discussion topics. Let's start here with Ms. Parker. Anything? Comments, questions, whatever?
Oh, no. Well, I keep seeing new faces here, so
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see the community coming out and getting involved in stuff like this. I want to remind everyone there are a lot of organizations in town also that need volunteers. There's, Main Street Organization, the Historical Association, there's Concerned Citizens. I mean, there's a long list of nonprofit organizations in the area that need volunteers that are wanting to get involved. If you're interested, please talk to me and I'll put you in touch with whoever you need to speak to start that.
Mr. Thomas?
All right. Well, on that note, I did want to say the city had an amazing event this Saturday. That was a lot of fun to participate in, not just in the float, but my kids enjoyed every minute of it. The roofing company was throwing out money. I mean, it was crazy. It was gold bars with cash in it, so it was wild. I had a lot of fun. My kids had a lot of fun, so I just wanted to thank City for that. That was a great time.
That was Intrust Roofing. Intrust
Roofing, yeah. That's
EN Trust, and their slogan is they're the gold standard in roofing. That's the tie. That was the tie in there for them. So,
very cool.
thank you.
I've got a couple things. It's been about 9 years since I've been up here, so just bear with me. When I got appointed to this board, I started thinking about the fact that I know when I was a commissioner, this was a volunteer board, but now we are getting paid $50 a month in stipend. I know it's a small amount. It's about $3,000 a year, but I know with the ballot initiative that if that should pass, it's going to put a strain on our budget. I know this is a small amount. It's, people say it's a drop in the bucket. Well, if you take a bucket and put it outside and it rains, that bucket fills up pretty fast. So I'd like to see this brought back up, in the next meeting so we can discuss it and possibly vote to recommend to the commission that we kind of get rid of that. I mean, it's $50. I get it, but after taxes, you're taking home $35. I see this as we're public servants, and I understand the need for having that when we were having very small numbers of people that were, wanting to do this, but we had a pretty good pool. So I just think that we have a chance to kind of set the tone and lead, by saying we don't need that. So, and then two other things. Went to Father's Fest 2 weeks ago. Great event. Talked to a couple of the people that were behind it, and they want to continue doing it. I'm glad to hear that. I was glad to hear that they want to move it to the fall because it was blistering hot. But really enjoyed that, and I want to give props to whoever was involved, city staff, Manager Marlowe, Mayor Martin, this weekend, I did not leave Newberry city limits, and I had a blast. I mean, the fireworks were great. I know you guys had some issues with the weather. You know, you had a couple hurdles you had to jump over, but overall, I thought it was great. It was great seeing the staff out there directing traffic. You know, and then the parade. It was a lot of fun. So I just appreciate all you know that you guys put into that, and hopefully we can continue doing stuff like that because I saved a lot on gas.
Ms. Hauser,
I have no additional comments.
Mr. Walker.
Thank you to the city for the 4th this weekend. It was absolutely amazing. I didn't make the parade, but the fireworks were awesome. I appreciate y'all.
City Manager?
I just want to say thank you guys. This is, I know we pay $50, but it's basically a volunteer role already for what you do. I love the heart to offer up and say I would do this for free. I would just, let's have that conversation because when it was, I'm not saying anybody does this for $50, but when we didn't pay anything, it kind of sent the message, I guess, that we didn't expect anything, and then we had a hard time getting people up here. So I think it kind of covers the gas money to come here. There's obviously 2 or 3 hours of prep time of reading for each of these meetings. And a lot of you are very active on social media, answering questions, helping. So, you know, I think you're worth a lot more than $50 a meeting. I think $50 is just sort of a nod that we understand that you are, you know, spending 2-3 hours a month reading the backup material. You're coming up here for a couple hours. You've got some expenses of doing that. So again, I agree. It's a drop in the bucket. It's a great message. But when we didn't pay anything, we struggled to get anyone to do it. So it you know, it was just a little bit of, we do acknowledge that you're giving up some time here. So, but again, thank you because I still view you guys as volunteers because it is a lot more than what you get paid in $50. So that was all my comments. Stacy's the director. You got any comments?
No, I don't, other than welcome and great first meeting for the most of you. We appreciate your volunteer time.
You're the senior person here, Ms. Parker. I know. Also the most experienced. There you go. Madam Attorney, anything? Anything further from the public? All right, well, good first meeting, everybody. Appreciate all the comments. I have nothing further to add, but we do have a HARB meeting real quick after this, so we can take 5 minutes and run to the restroom and et cetera. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, this is for you.
Why? Oh.
No, you're just trying to help me.
To go through this here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this Historic Architectural Review Board meeting together. Time is approximately 6:56. Today's date is Monday, July 6th. We have a approval of the agenda up first, so we'll entertain a motion at this time.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Parker, a second from Board Member McGehee. All right, let me just write that down. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, any from the public? Seeing no public, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous, 5-0. All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Parker, you want to lead us? Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The first item on the agenda is the HARB and City Historic Preservation Initiatives. I apologize. Who's walking us through this one? All right, come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this, I'm really just going to give a brief presentation, a brief overview of the city's Historic Architectural Review Board and its function and how it relates to the city, the state, and national historic preservation efforts. The City of Newberry establishes a HARB in the city's Code of Ordinances through Articles 3 and 11 of the Land Development Regulations. So it's a lot of words. I just copied straight from code. Article 3 is all about the administrative mechanisms. It outlines the creation of the Planning and Zoning Board and the HARB, as well as other boards. Section 3.3.1.7 states the purpose of the HARB, which is to promote the health, morals, and economic, educational, aesthetic, cultural, and general welfare of the public through identification and protection of culturally significant sites and structures, increasing economic benefits to the city, preserving and enhancing significant architectural styles, and enrichment of educational and cultural dimensions. And then Article 11 of the City Code outlines the functions of the HARB. Section 11.1 specifically, the Historic Architectural Review Board is designated as the Historic Preservation Agency. And this is important because it's a requirement for certified local government status, and I'll go over that a little bit later. And all these other items are outlined, the powers and duties of the board, designations of landmarks, landmark sites, historic districts, application requirements, public hearings for these designations, criteria for designating a property as a historical property, agency recommendation, the city commission decision, successive applications, amendment and rescissions. Number 11.11, approval of changes to landmarks and landmark sites. That is if a structure is within the historic district or a site's within the historic district, and there's a proposed change, a significant change to the outside the facade or even inside, there would have to be an application for a certificate of appropriateness. So that owner of that property would come to the Planning and Zoning Board and, would submit an application first to staff, of course, for the certificate of appropriateness. And then once staff has done an assessment and it's been reviewed internally with other city departments as well, utilities, public works, fire, then it'll be on the Planning and Zoning Board, or the HARB, actually, HARB agenda. And the applicant will have to present what the changes are, and the HARB will determine if a certificate of appropriateness should be issued. And then construction could commence, or building permits could commence after that. They can't. Someone who applies for a certificate of appropriateness has to have that before applying for building permits.
Can I ask a question about that, or you want me to wait?
Yeah, sure.
Get specific
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Is paint on the outside of the historic downtown not part of it? Does it have to be a permit that's pulled to kind of trigger that?
Yes, it's significant, and it is actually outlined in the code. It is a significant changes that are proposed, or even repairs. Yeah,
So
or
I'm-
demolitions, for that matter.
So
It also
part of my
includes
confusion
demolitions.
is we've had to approve like the murals, but then they can paint the buildings on the outside without approval.
I think murals are actually a separate part in the code, for a you can, if you want to paint a mural, you also have to have a certificate of appropriateness. Yeah. Yeah. And then the last is identification of historic properties. And so that sort of brings me to the certified local government status, the CLG status. This is, so it's a program that was enacted as part of the National Historic Preservation Act amendments of 1980, and it links the federal, state, and local governments into a preservation partnership for the identification, evaluation, and protection of historic properties. A local government is designated as a CLG through passage of a local historic preservation ordinance, and they also have to maintain, there's maintenance of its status through established requirements. I'll go over that next. The local ordinance establishes a board, like this board, to develop and implement the functions of its historic preservation program. In the state of Florida, there are 86 CLGs. 66 of those are municipalities. And then in Alachua County, there are 3. There's Gainesville, who had CLG status in 1986. Micanopy established the CLG status was 1997, and then Newberry in 2007. So fairly recent. So there are benefits to participation. The first is technical assistance. So the Bureau of Historic Preservation staff are available to CLGs as a source of technical assistance and information. They conduct all kinds of workshops and webinars, and they'll even do guest speaking and do presentations if invited. Second are, this is a big one, grants. Through the division's small matching grants program, CLGs that are in good standing are eligible to compete for pass-through sub-grants that are funded by the Historic Preservation Fund grant. The division receives annually from the National Park Service. The federal CLG sub-grants may be for survey, for planning, for National Register nomination projects, and also matching funding requirements for small matching grants are waived for all grants awarded to CLGs that are in good standing, whether state or federally funded. And the third, the National Register comment role. So federal regulations actually require that National Register nomination proposals be reviewed by CLGs and their historic preservation boards before they can even be presented to the Florida National Register Review Board. Florida CLGs are also encouraged to work with the National Register reviewers at the State Historic Preservation Office, or SHPO, by identifying properties or districts that may be eligible for the National Register within their local jurisdiction. And then finally, and the last, the local tax exemption review to conduct project reviews for Florida's local option property tax exemption program. Project reviews in communities that are not CLGs must be conducted by the Division of Historical Resources, and that exemption is available for qualified improvements to historic properties that are listed in the National Register and or designated by a CLG. So that is the connection between the CLG and the HARB. In order to be a CLG community, a certified local government, a historic preservation board has to be established, and that's what the HARB is. And so there are program requirements to maintain your CLG status. There are quite a lot of them, but they're mostly administrative. So it's to maintain an active preservation board, this board, that meets at least 4 times per year. So this is the first of the year. So we'll probably have, yes. Yes. And we actually, on the staff side, we haven't really received any applications to come before the HARB. So, you know, then until we do receive an application that comes before the HARB, it'll be presentations. Maybe we'll call someone from the State Historic Preservation Office to do a presentation. So also to another program requirement is to identify a local CLG contact. That's usually staff. Submitting minutes and agendas, that's all staff responsibilities. Review the National Register nominations for properties within your local jurisdiction. and submit comments within 60 days. And then finally, also maintain an ongoing system of a survey, notify the state historic preservation officer immediately of all new historic designations or alterations to the existing designations, notify the state historic preservation officer of changes in commission membership within 30 days, submit amendments made to your local ordinance to the state for review and comment, submit an annual report, and finally, to participate in CLG evaluation at least once every 4 years. Those are the requirements.
So if you all are interested, the actual survey is on our community development website. You can see all the registered properties.
And that's all I have. It's very,
All right, any
Good
comment,
idea
questions
overall.
from the board?
So I think it was my last year or second to last year when I was in office. We had just gotten the CRA, and I know our CRA district and the historic district, there's a lot of overlap there. And I know that it took a few years, but we created the CRA facade program. So in a situation like that, would they come before the HARB first and then before the CRA? Or how would that?
yeah,
How would that?
that's
Who is the CRA board? Is it the commission? Okay. All right. Thanks. Just trying to.
Any other question or comment from the board? Any closing comments from the board? Going once, going twice? All right, we are adjourned.